Yeah, we spent the opening tip talking Texas and Texas football and the return of Will Muschamp because we got to hear from him yesterday. Wanted to play this for you, Jack. Here's another one from Coach Boom. Typical Coach Boom asked what type of prospects he's looking for, what type of player. But he also maybe takes a shot at some of the schools in the SEC. I don't know if this is a shot you didn't decide. Is it? What do you call it, Jack? At your generation, shade.
Oh yeah,
throwing some shade. Maybe
shade.
Here you go.
From a length standpoint, from an athletic standpoint, some of the testing numbers. Obviously, they need to have good tape. They got to have a good transcript. Our players go to school here in Texas, so we actually go to class, not like some other places. So.
Not like some other. I don't know where he's talking about. Where is he talking about? Maybe I don't know.
Some other places.
We actually go to class here.
Yeah.
Is that, okay, I know a lot of you out there shaking your head.
Vanderbilt?
Vanderbilt. I think they go to class.
I don't. That quarterback? You think that quarterback's passing classes?
Pavia?
I don't.
Well, he's
a graduate. He doesn't have to take classes.
He is. Yeah. What classes? He's done. He's been in school for 7 years. He better be done with something. Diego Pavia. All right. Also, real quick, while we're on Will Muschamp and Horns That Have Passed, brought to you by Dr. Greg Eckert. He's my dentist, and you absolutely know he would like to be yours. He's a lifetime Longhorn. He's fired up about the Longhorns. There's no doubt. But Horns That Have Passed, brought to you by Dr. Greg Eckert. He's been my dentist for more than a decade. He's been Austin's dentist for more than 30 years. He and his team would love to be yours. 512-834-1027. Some of the early reaction from the players, getting to know Will Muschamp so far. This is Colin Simmons, you'll hear. Landon Jackson, I think Jalen and Grayson Littleton, three of the defensive stalwarts they're expecting this year, including Colin Simmons, on the early returns on what Will Muschamp's about.
Great. I mess with Will. I mess with Muschamp. Everybody mess with Muschamp. Man, he a great coach. You know, he pushes us every day. You know, he want nothing but the best. Like, it's literally nothing other than the best. Like, he gonna get the best out of you. So, you know, I'm just glad that, you know, we got a dog on our team.
I wasn't really familiar with him at first. I mean, I've obviously heard of him. I've seen the video of him hitting the board and stuff. So I knew when he first came in here, he was the real deal. And then when I met him, I've loved him ever since. I love his energy that he brings to us every day. The defense is going to look very different this year.
He's intense. He's a very smart guy. He came in here and he's been very straightforward with the goals he has for us, and I think he's been pretty helpful overall. He's looking over the stars, and he's doing a great job.
All right, so there you go. Those are some of the Longhorn leaders. All right, so that's the future, right? 1 week from tomorrow will be the open practice, the fan day, and we'll talk Texas football all next week. But the focal point is Texas softball and baseball this weekend. I know, and we're going to get into the Texas baseball series here coming up, but there's a huge, what'd you call it, Jack, maybe the biggest home series at McCombs Field that we've seen this weekend.
Yeah, this year for sure.
This year, Texas is coming off Texas and Mike White coming off their first series loss of the season. They went to Alabama, that number 1 versus number 4 matchup, and they came home with 2 losses. They won the first game, lost the second 2 over the Easter break or the Easter weekend, and they took 2 losses. Bama beat them 11-4 and 7-4, and now here comes Oklahoma. Power in college softball, we know that. These two have gone back and forth in championship series. Texas Tech entered the conversation last year and became Texas's rival there in that national championship series. Here's Mike White on what needs to happen, bouncing back from the loss at Alabama, where their pitching staff maybe pitched around some people, created some big innings, not throwing strikes. Here's the head coach.
We've got to be, you got to fight fire with fire. We've got to be aggressive. We're going to have to challenge them, and yet we can't pitch around them. I mean, they're going to walk and get big innings on you, So we're going to have to take some shots here a little bit, but we got to outscore them. I think is what we have to do.
Yeah, we know Oklahoma always comes in slugging. That turns the attention to the baseball diamond, and I think you know this, Jack. The second-ranked Longhorns are headed to College Station this weekend. Showdown 3-game series with 18th-ranked Texas A&M. It's a critical series between the arch rivals. The hype and hatred and bitterness, that's going to overshadow. This is a huge series. We're at the midway point of both teams' SEC slate. Let's not forget, you play 10 conference series. This is the 5th conference series. So you're dead in the middle of this thing. Texas is 27-4 overall. Aggies are 25-7. They enter the 5th series of the weekends. Longhorns are alone in second place at 9-3. The Aggies are in a 3-way tie for 3rd place at 7-5. So obviously their opportunity to want to say climb back in it, but they can do some damage here to get to the top of the conference. And the Aggies with their 12th man, Jack, we know the Bluebell Park's a tough place to play. Aggies have won 19 of their 22 home games this year. Listen to their slugger, Gavin Gahovac. He says, we absolutely feed off of our crowd.
You actually kind of vibe off of that energy in a game.
Oh, yeah. Our 12th man's, there's nothing like it. We definitely feed off the 12th man. The energy they bring, we can play with that on the field, especially in close games. They're a big part of it. So, yeah, they play a big role in all of our games.
All right, so the 12th man, that's what you'll deal with. And obviously that 12th man's going to be fired up and angry.
That's right.
And for folks who are been living under a rock or don't know, so the huge series, but by far the biggest storyline entering tonight's series opener at 7 o'clock surrounds the Longhorns' second-year head coach, Jim Schlossnagle. We all know, or you should know if you don't, you're like, all right, lay it out for me. For 3 seasons, he's coached at College Station, coached the Aggies, led their program. He guided A&M to the College World Series in his first season back in 2022. They made it back in 2024 and got all the way to the championship series where they lost in the final game of the college baseball season to Tennessee. And if you want to ask, well, why are Aggie fans fired up and bitter and all that, let me take you back to June 24th of 2024, Jack. Here was the after they lose the national championship game. And here was the question for the then Texas A&M head coach, Jim Schlossnagle.
Coach, with respect to the difficult outcome tonight, but with the rumors circulating today about a specific job opening, what do you have to say about your future in Aggieland?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty selfish of you to ask me that question, to be honest with you. But I left my family to be the coach at Texas A&M. I took the job at Texas A&M to never take another job again. And that hasn't changed in my mind. And that's unfair to talk about something like that. That'd be like you asking Montgomery if he's going to sign in the draft. But I understand you got to ask the question. But I gave up a big part of my life to come take this job, and I've poured every ounce of my soul in this job. And I've given this job every single ounce I can possibly give it. So write that.
Write that.
Print that.
And at the time, he had known he was talking to Chris Del Conte, and call him what you want.
I think my favorite part of that is my family did not want to come out here.
Well, no,
I left my family to be here because they didn't want to come live here.
They're now living in Austin, of course. Well, again,
but they did come down.
And
here.
we go back to the 2 years ago. If you go back into the spring on this show, our show, this Game Time, Jack, on 102.7 ESPN debuted. In that window, March 1st. March 1st was March 3rd was our first show, and I began to get wind that there was Trev Alberts, the new AD. Because remember, Trev Alberts had gotten in 2024 to be the AD like only a month or so previous to that. Because Ross Bjork left after he, messed up the Mark Stoops hire that turned into Mike Elko, and Ross Bjork was hired off to go to Ohio State and became the head coach at Ohio State. I think we know that by now, but what I started to report on the radio on this show was that, hey, Aggies, I know, and remember, Aggies were number 1 all season that year. They were the top team. They and Tennessee were the best 2 teams, but I kept saying that, Trev Alberts needs to reach out to Jim Schlossnagle, because Jim Schlossnagle at A&M had a great relationship with Ross Bjork, who hired him, and those two were working together on stadium expansion. They were working together on, the future of the program, and then Trev Alberts came in and he was all about finances and what he was hired to do, get the NIL thing ready and the house settlement and all that, but he was not reaching out and actually, angered Jim Schlossnagle at one point by firing a staffer without even telling him as he was cutting budget and those type of things. So it was, I don't know if Jim Schlossnagle would be the coach at Texas if Ross Bjork were still the AD at the time, but that happened in about a 3-month window. And then they go all the way to the national title game. David Pierce is relieved. And remember, David Pierce was let go at the end of the year when Texas' season ended. There was a 2 or 3 week window between the end of the Texas season and the end of the Aggie season. So you had to wait that out. And that's what led to that really awkward situation on a Monday night in College Station. And we also know the next day, Jim Schlossnagle was hired by Texas. And for a brief minute, Michael Early, the head coach now at Texas A&M, was hired. And obviously that is a centerpiece conversation. Here is Jim Schlossnagle on the reception he will receive. It's been 2 years in waiting now, or more than a year in waiting. The first series was in Austin last year in 2025. Texas swept that series. Now they're going back for the return engagement, but obviously the bitterness has not waned much. Here's Jim Schlossnagle.
I mean, I can't control the fans. I mean, the 12th man's awesome. I mean, I've said that ever since I had a chance to experience it. Actually, experience it at TCU. They're awesome. They're passionate for their team, and they're super consistent, very, very loyal, and I don't expect anything less than that over the course of the weekend. And there's fans over there that are still very, very good friends that I'm looking forward to seeing, and they're going to root for their team too. So.
All right, so there's Jim Schlossnagle. Also, as he talked to his team about it, I mean, obviously they do mental preparation all the time, but at the same time, this is a different animal, and not just Schloss is going to take it, but guys, remember when Schloss took the job, there were guys that had been committed out of high school to Texas A&M that now are that followed Schloss to Texas. The fans over there that are astute, they know who those players are. Coaches like Max Weiner. So, I mean, it's going to be full onslaught from the 12th man, no doubt. Here's the conversations that have been had within the Texas locker room about handling the emotions.
Yeah, just talked to him briefly about it yesterday. Number one, it's an honor to be a part of this rivalry, whether you're a coach or a player, and it's something you'll look back on as a player here or a player there over the course of the rest of your life. Playing games like this, series like this, they can be as life memories, more so than maybe being a major league player. When you talk to guys that have had a chance to do that. So that's one thing I said, and then certainly, there's going to be a lot said about all the peripheral stuff, but the game's about the players. It's about the Aggie players, and it's about our players, and fans can make it more than that, and that's okay. That's what fans do, and that's fine. There's storylines in every game and in all the games we play, but. Again, if we win a game, it's one win. If we lose a game, it's one loss, and it's not anything more than that. But it is special. I mean, you can't look away from that to be a part of an awesome rivalry, especially this time of year in college baseball, right smack dab in the middle of the season. Great for our sport.
All right, great for our sport, Jack.
Yeah, I mean, he's right. Baseball is a sport where we heard Colonel Flowers talking about it yesterday. You can get down on yourself fast, and you can get up on yourself fast in a sport like baseball. And it's important that you don't do that. I know emotionally and for fans, this is a huge series, but you look at it, Texas is second in the SEC. I think A&M's fourth. So whoever
tied for fourth. Yeah, Texas alone in second. There's a group of 3 teams: Florida, Mississippi State, and A&M that are 7-5. So yeah, no, this is on the record wise. If A&M can win this series, they're going to climb up towards second or third,
right?
And give the Longhorns more losses. Texas has won every series they've played so far. They swept one series and took 2 out of 3 in the other 3. This is just on the field. It's a huge series for the big picture of the top of the SEC.
But at the end of the day, it is just one series. Texas has Mississippi State coming up. I think they play Alabama next week. Those are good teams in the SEC. The emotions of it, the rivalry of it, the A&M revenge aspect of it, that's big, but whoever wins the series has got to get right back to it.
I find it interesting, and obviously the Schloss impact of it
right.
is it's a lot like the Texas-Oklahoma game in the middle of the season. Like the A&M game in football is now at the end of the year. But to handle the emotions of it, and their former players, obviously there are Aggie guys that, again, all sides know this, but there's also a lot of new players on both rosters, but there's so much familiarity between the programs, the fan bases. It is like the Texas OU game happening in October. It's right in the middle of the season, and everybody has talked. We've all covered it. It's tough to deal with the emotion of that. Take it one pitch at a time, one inning at a time. But you got to mentally be ready. And here's one more from Schloss talking about that. They can make it about me. We need to make it about a ball game, and 3 of them.
There's going to be a lot said about all the peripheral stuff, but the game's about the players. It's about the Aggie players, and it's about our players, and fans can make it more than that, and that's okay. That's what fans do.
All right, so here's Luke Harrison.
We're going to make it about our coach, and we just get to go play baseball. We'll let the fans focus on that, and players play the game.
All right, that's Luke Harrison. He'll be the Saturday starter for Texas. One side of it, Michael Early, who's the head coach of the Texas A&M Aggies. He also is embracing the opportunity to, this is play a ball game, and everybody in it should appreciate what this rivalry is and how special it can be this weekend.
That's cool. I think it's great for the sport. I think the one thing that definitely is a huge part of this whole thing is you got 2 really good baseball teams. You got a team that's second in the conference, a team that we're fourth. All that's meaningless now after 4 weeks, but you got 2 really good baseball teams. that have played well, I think.
All right, so there it is. Honored to play in it, and that's where it is. And you're right. It's and here are the headlines. It is elite pitching that Texas has versus elite hitting that A&M has, and we'll do more of that coming up next hour. Texas has Ruger Riojas going tonight, Luke Harrison, you just heard from, going Saturday, Dylan Volantis on Sunday, and they feel like they've stabilized their hierarchy and their bullpen and the roles. Meanwhile, you look at offensive lineups in college baseball, and we'll hear from Jim Schlossnagle talking about it. This is a team that can really, really hit. I got to see them with my own eyes down in San Marcos, even in their loss on Tuesday night, their only midweek loss of the year so far. They're big, they're physical, well put together guys that can really go. And we'll do a full scouting report of this series next hour. Just wanted to get the overriding conversation into the conversation, but we'll do some actual matchups and that top 4 or 5 of that Aggie order is the real deal. You got to keep them off base. You got to pitch to it though. You can't manufacture big innings, and we'll talk more the matchup. And a lot of times when you have a decisive advantage pitching, Texas pitching is better and deeper than A&M's, but A&M's offense is better and more consistent than Texas's. Usually comes down to that third phase.
Right.
How does the Texas offense attack the Aggie pitching staff? Can that be the difference? We'll talk about it next hour.